Interrupted by a week of bitter cold. Water distribution sites have been opened in San Antonio, Galveston, and in Houston, where Percy McGee has been
up since 5 o'clock. I have no choice. All the stores in my area are out of water.
Around a third of Texas' 30 million residents have been told to boil their tap water before they drink it. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
The White House says about 6 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been delayed due to the winter weather across the country. President Biden making his debut on the world stage as president, addressing leaders at the virtual Munich Security Conference today. He says America is committed to its European allies.
Democracy doesn't happen by accident. We have to defend it, fight for it, strengthen it, renew it.
Today also marks the first day the U.S. is officially back in the Paris Climate Accord agreement, Biden rejoining after the Trump administration withdrew. At the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus today, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi addressing the rise in violent attacks rattling Asian Americans in the U.S. since the start of the pandemic. She called them hate crimes.
Take down the words, because that the difference between just bullying and harassment, and that would be horrible enough.
This hour, we will get an update from NASA on the Mars rover Perseverance. It landed yesterday after a 7-month journey. Mike Watkins, director of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California, saying earlier,
we have just landed a representative of the planet Earth on a place on Mars that no one has ever been to.
The rover touched down in the Jezero crater, where scientists believe an ancient river once flowed. Researchers say it's already sent back some impressive images. You're listening to ABC News.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
President Biden announcing today that the U.S. will donate $4 billion toward getting COVID vaccines to the world's poorest countries. It's part of a UN-backed program using money that Congress set aside back in December. Britain also planning to go global.
In the midst of its own vaccine rollout, the UK is looking beyond when it should have a surplus left over. Foreign Office Minister James Cleverly.
This is part of our international duty to make sure that, yes, we absolutely protect the British people through our excellent vaccination programme, but we also make sure we do our part in keeping the world safe.
He adds vaccines should be distributed internationally through multilateral bodies to developing countries, rather than trying to exert diplomatic leverage. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
Iran says the U.S. must lift all sanctions before Tehran dials back its nuclear program. Washington, though, wanting back in to the agreement abandoned by the last administration.
President Biden campaigned on reviving that nuclear deal with additional restrictions, and that will be the tricky part, but it is significant that the U.S. has signaled they would like talks to begin, and it will be hard for Iran not to take part.
ABC News Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz. New signs of a stronger housing market. U.S. realtors reporting that existing home sales rose again last month. Home prices also higher, up 14% from January 2020. This is ABC News.
When's the last time you looked at your bathroom? Second thought, you might not want to make eye contact with that old faucet. It's time to head to Lowe's for some home improvement. Choose from stylish brands like American Standard, Delta, and Style Selections, and transform your before bathroom into an amazing after bathroom. Woohoo! You can't see her, but she's high-fiving herself. Don't just do it yourself. Do it for yourself. Stop by Lowe's or visit Lowe's.com/DIFY for vanities starting at $99. Valid through 3/31 U.S. only.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
This Snow Country Ski Report is brought to you by Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit to hire great people fast.
We have a familiar pattern lending itself to a great ski weekend and a great one to be outdoors, too. Nighttime temperatures in the 20s. That's great for the groomers. The snow sets up so the groomers can make that snow nice and smooth and loose with their snowcats. And then temperatures warm up into the 40s during the day with more sunshine as the weekend goes on. That helps to soften the snow at Bear Mountain and Snow Summit. They are sold out for daytime skiing for Saturday, but night sessions are still available. Mountain High skiing and riding on 26 trails. Once again, machine groomed snow and hardpack softens as the day goes on. Snow Valley skiing on 17 slopes, and Lee Canyon near Las Vegas on 25 pack powder trails. They even have a couple gladed runs for intermediate tree skiing at Lee Canyon. Mammoth 155 trails. They groom 85 of them, including 30 groomed black diamonds at Mammoth. I'm Chuck Devine on KMET 1490 AM.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Julie Talks Money. I'm Julie Phelan, your host, and I'm coming to you from Southern California, and I hope that you're able to listen to me at home, and I know you can listen to me on your phone, on TuneIn Radio, and also on the internet. You could be in France, you could be in Switzerland, or England, or Dakar, I don't know, but that's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of internet radio. We have the reach far and wide, and that is my hope that I will be able to reach far and wide to help you with your financial goals and your dreams. How do you make your dream a vision, and how do you make that vision a reality? That's one of the things that I always try to do as a coach, and also different elements in my show. I have 4 different philosophies. I want to help you to make more money, grow your money, keep it, and then protect it. And usually one of the themes of the show, the theme of any given show is going to have to do with one of those 4 things. And today I'm going to be talking about a business and having your own business and how it is that you make more money by having your business and growing it and having a presence online. Because we know that right now that is the biggest thing that we've got out there that we're all being bombarded with. Right? It's like, if you have a business, how do you market it? If you're like me, you also have a jillion marketing emails in your inbox that you have no idea how they got there. You didn't sign up for these things. You deliberately did not sign up for several others, but somehow they still get in there. Whether you have Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, it doesn't matter. People are constantly bombarding us with marketing. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the show with the special guest that I'll be welcoming that'll help with business and design. But first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit more about Julie Talks Money. Now, Julie Talks Money is a platform, basically, for me to talk about money on this show and also for me to talk about money with you one-on-one. I am a financial life coach, which is different from a financial advisor, because a financial advisor, generally speaking, is going to do what we call talking their book. They're going to talk to you about annuities. They're going to talk to you about insurance products. They're going to talk to you particularly about mutual funds and several other things that would be in your best interest to put money into. It could be also a 529 savings plan for college or for students. But what their ultimate goal is to sell you one of those products. It's to sell you a 529 plan because they'll make a commission on it. Is to sell you an annuity because they'll make a commission on it. And it would be to sell you an insurance policy of some kind because they'll make a commission on it. Anybody who is out there selling you something and talking about what they do is basically selling their book. Now, stockbrokers used to do that also because they were selling stocks and they were knowledgeable about that. They had something to tell you and then, of course, something to sell you. I don't sell you anything except personal coaching services. And I have a special program. I'll do a financial analysis for you for just $95. And if I can't get $950 that I can find that you haven't had, haven't claimed, have sitting in accounts you don't even know that you have, I will give you that money back. No questions asked. It's a guarantee. So $95 for $950, that is one of my special offers. However, one of the things that I also do is have individual clients, and that can be for anywhere from a short period of 4 sessions up to a 17-week class, a 17-week course that I teach and I talk to you about. It is more challenging, and it's for the people who want to really dig into their financial lives and find out more about what is going on and also what it is that they can do to improve their financial life. And I don't care if you're a millennial. I don't care if you're a boomer. I don't care if you are a nonagenarian or octogenarian. We can all use some advice and something changing about our money and financial situations. Don't you agree? Well, that is, of course, unless you have done all the steps right throughout your entire life and you have saved and you've socked money away and you've had it in great investments, and now you are sitting on millions of dollars in cash that are throwing off a good $20,000 a month income for you, and you're retired. That's great. Then I probably wouldn't have something to tell you, and you might be able to tell me something. Although we could talk about how you can make that money throw off a little bit more money and not run out. Now, of course, there's that whole group of people that have joined what they call the FIRE movement. That's FIRE, and that stands for Financial Independence and Retire Early. This is what a whole lot of people are doing and pursuing as a goal, because they think that it's great if you can retire at age 30 or 32 or 34 and basically not have to do work for a job or for a boss again. However, it doesn't always work that way. And most of the time, you have to have at least a $100,000 a year job to do that. And generally speaking, you have to have a spouse to do that too if you want to make it successful. And the other thing is that you have to cut a whole bunch of things down to the bone before you're going to be able to get to that situation. And then, there's a new movie coming out called Nomadland. There's a whole lot of people who basically will probably really enjoy that movie because it's about getting into a trailer and driving around and being a nomad. However, what is different from it is that, from what you might think, is that it's not necessarily being a nomad. That's a good thing. It's about being forced into being a nomad because you don't have work, don't have a job. So you have to find out where the work is. Not something that I'm recommending, but if that's something that you really dig and that's what you want to do is to get on the road and be a nomad, that's fine. You could be one of those people that does bead work or makes jewelry or does all kinds of craft things. Maybe you're a painter or an artist. And if you're a painter or an artist, that's be fantastic too. You can actually paint and enjoy your life, sell your art at art fairs, go from one to another, sit in a park all day, 12 hours a day, while you are basically having people come by to look at your paintings and potentially buy them. And that's another way to work, to have the side hustle and be on the road. There's different things for everybody. No two people are the same in what it is that they want and what they want to do, right? So you have to figure out what it is that is going to work for you and how you can get there. So I do help people do that in the coaching and basically help you build the tools of success. Now, I like to liken what it is that a life coach does or a financial coach does to being the head coach of a football team, because I'm a football fan, and it's an easy thing to understand. Now, when you are the head coach of a team, you are not the only coach. You are not the only person who is developing those players. And I don't care if you're talking NFL or college or high school. You're not the only one developing the players, and there's different areas that they have to be developed in, right? So you've got a strength coach, a conditioning coach. You can have a nutrition coach, perhaps. You can have a quarterback coach. You can have a wide receivers coach. There are any number of coaches who make these things happen for their team. As a financial life coach, I have a number of people like that on my team that are mortgage specialists or real estate specialists or investment specialists or financial specialists, insurance specialists, and they are checked out and vetted by me. And I will connect you and do connect you with people who are already checked out, as opposed to you having to go onto Yelp to find somebody who may or may not be qualified to do what it is that you want to do. So basically what we would do, and what you need to do for yourself too, everything starts with goal setting, doesn't it? You have to have a goal. And as Jim Rohn said many years ago, a goal is not worth anything unless it's written down. If you have a written down goal, then you are much more likely to achieve it, much more likely to work towards it, and much more likely to accomplish it. It may take a number of years, and you may change your goals in the meantime, but writing it down is one thing that you must do. And that is for each goal that you have. You can have a whole page full of goals. I wouldn't argue with that. But in some ways, I find it very valuable to have separate pages for each goal that you want to accomplish. And then down below it, you can put how you're going to achieve it or accomplishment or steps you're going to take to try to get there. Now, like Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and Dinesh D'Souza and several other people, I also believe that the universe will work with you once you set things in motion. And the first thing you do is set things in motion by writing the goal down. Now, if you're working with me, we'll execute and put together a playbook for how you're going to get to that goal. Now, this is what I'm talking about, my 17-week program, if you really want to get into things. There'll be a lot of different checklists you'll have to do, educational tools we'll be going over together, but you'll also get some rewards. It's kind of like a game you can play. You get some rewards for what it is that you have accomplished or achieved under each of the sections. We go through some different activities, and the first week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks could be comparable to what coaches on football teams used to call Hell Week. They would do maybe 2-a-day practices. We're not going to do 2-a-day practices, but it is going to be fairly intensive because you would have to come up to speed on a number of different things and concepts. So we'll be doing that, and you could actually say practice things that are similar to doing drills on the football field, right? You have to do the same thing over and over, or you have to learn how to do it and keep practicing it until you get better. If you're going to be doing stocks or trading stocks, there's a platform where you can practice it with paper money, and we'll go through that and talk about that. Before you risk your own money, you should become a little more comfortable with it. You should know what the terminology is. What's a put? What's a call? What's an option? What's a collar? How do you position your stock and your purchase? It's not just buying something and letting the market do whatever it's going to do to make the stock rise or fall, whether the company's got the underlying valuation and metrics for it or not. You want to protect your position. Like I say, make it, grow it, keep it, and protect it. So that's one of the things you have to do. Then you're going to have to prepare for the next challenge that you're going to face, or the next piece of education that you're going to face. And that is going to be anything from, it could be from insurance. It could be scripting some more things about your goal. It could be investing in real estate. Maybe that's one of the things, which is my passion, to invest in real estate to create passive income. Well, you're not going to just jump into buying a house and saying, hey, this sounds good, and I bet I could rent it for $3,000 a month, and will it work? No. Just like everything else, you're going to have to know how to do it. And that's one of the things that we would work together on over several weeks. And if you'd be interested in that, call me at 626-460-1188. That's 626-460-1188. Again, that's 626-460-1188. And if you'd like a sample of some things, you can check out my YouTube channel, Julie Talks Money. You can find me on Spreaker and on SoundCloud, also Julie Talks Money as the shows. And you'll find out a little bit more about what it is that we would be working on together and what it is that I know, plus some of the guests that I've had on the show who are some of my valued colleagues. Now, I want to tell you also, the topic of today's show is having a business, because people, no matter what, and in this country, we are remarkable for our ability to create businesses and allow people to create businesses, especially small businesses. And that could be mom and pop business. It could be your business. And I'm not talking about working from home with a garage where you've got, tons of dolls, or you're selling your jewelry or your art. I'm talking about some kind of a business that you can do online. I'm talking about a business if you are, for example, an attorney that wants to put out their own shingle. What if you actually have perhaps a wellness clinic? What if you're a massage therapist? Or what if you have a business where you have massage therapists and you have a chiropractor and you have some kind of a strength or conditioning coach or a nutritionist, and you have it all in one place? That's a business. There are any number of businesses. It's limited only by your imagination. But what do you do when you start a business, and what do you need to do in order to start a business? Well, for one thing, you need capital, don't you? You need some working capital. You need some money to operate your business. Now, a lot of us will have the money in savings, and we figure that we can launch. A lot of people will go out and try to raise capital from friends or family. And that's always been a time-honored way of doing things. If you want to open a restaurant, maybe you want to open a noodle shop, maybe you want to open a retail store of some kind selling souvenirs in Hollywood. Maybe you want to sell socks. Any kind of thing is a viable business. One thing that most people don't know about is that there's a tremendous resource available to you in the government Small Business Administration. And they also help with the loans that have been available for the COVID relief. We're talking about the PPP loan, the Payroll Protection Program loan. There's also been several different things and programs available to help you stay on board with your business during COVID-19 and during this pandemic. A lot of people, their businesses are closed, their doors were closed. Believe it or not, a lot of people are still starting businesses without having to have the door open to retail customers. So how do you do that too? Well, yeah, you can work from home. You can do an online business selling Amazon. You can do eBay reselling. You can do all kinds of other stuff, drop shipping. But if you actually want to start a business, then I really strongly suggest you look up the Small Business Administration in your area. For a long time, I didn't realize that they did anything other than loans for commercial properties or for businesses. But I have found since then that they offer a tremendous number of educational programs. As a matter of fact, in the Inland Empire, there's a women's business center. So if you are a woman, then you have even extra resources. If you're a minority, you actually can have even more resources available to you, including getting to be a vendor for the government as a minority contractor. And that way you can actually be on the list for government contracts, which is a fantastic thing for growing your business. And you don't have to do a whole lot of marketing. So the small business finance loan, there's a COVID-19 recovery loan that is available for not-for-profits and also for-profits. And the Women's Business Center, as well as the CDC, help to foster economic development. And if you create jobs in your community, then that makes you valuable too. And that's one of the things the SBA is available for. Now, right now, there are a lot of people who have had SBA disaster loans, and because it's a government program, there's been a deferment, an automatic deferment put on paying them back. Now, that would be a great thing to have, right? If you had it in the past few months. There's certainly something now that's a COVID-19 relief loan product that's available to Southern California, and that's the Inland Empire, San Diego, Marietta, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Santa Barbara, all over Southern California. It's another loan product that they have. If you want to know how to form a partnership or start a partnership with someone, you might need some documentation. Well, guess what? The Small Business Administration can help you with that too. So check it out in your area. It's a super easy thing to Google. We love Google, right? Just go sba.gov and check out what is available to you in your area from the Small Business Administration. If you're a minority, if you're a woman, I strongly suggest you do it. If you're looking for startup capital and you haven't quite been able to come up with it, or you can't do a Patreon account or GoFundMe account, which are online platforms, don't worry. Go to the SBA. They will help you. They will help guide you. And there's a ton of online courses and webinars that they're doing also on what it is that you might need to do and how you can keep your business compliant. Now, speaking of business, because I'm a business person, and most people who I know are businesses, and also people that you look up on Yelp, companies that you're looking up to see what their business hours are. If you're looking up a store to see if they're open or closed during COVID, what is the first thing that you do? Well, you probably Google it, and what should come up is a website, because that is one of the first things that people look for is an online presence, and that would be your digital presence and your digital footprint. So I'm going to be talking with my guest today about that. Her name is Sarah Miner, and she had started her own business, Sarah Miner Design. And once again, I'm going to tell you, because the referral network is so important, she was referred to me by a mutual friend, a colleague who had worked with her, and I have worked with her, and I have found her work to be top drawer, absolutely wonderful. And interestingly enough, she's in Alabama and I'm in California. Well, how does that work? That, again, is from the blessings and the joys of the internet and what it allows to do. So Sarah basically lives in Alabama, as I said. She lived in a few other places, but went home to Alabama and has started a business as a designer. I mean, she's been in it for a while, and she creates your digital footprint and your identity and helps with your brand presence, what kind of presence it is that you want to put out. Now, you may think that that's not such a big deal, and you might be able to say, well, hey, I could just put up a WordPress website myself. But there's a whole lot more that goes into it. You know, think of McDonald's and think of their branding. I bet you get an image of the Golden Arches. I know I do. And it's yellow arches, golden arches on a red background. That's their logo, that's their presence, and when you see that, you know immediately who it is. They also package things using that same logo and those same colors. If you look at Best Buy, for example, that's a yellow logo on a blue background with black print. And you see that, and that is throughout their website, it's throughout their packaging. And any other company, if it's Marshall's, if it's Ross, if it is Nordstrom's, they're going to carry that color palette through all of their branding. Take a look at the stores next time you go, because you probably don't even realize this, but that is something that is part of the brand identity. And that's one of the things that Sarah helps us do and helps you and helps your business, in addition to creating a website, because you have to have a website, an online presence of some kind, in addition to YouTube and in addition to whatever marketing you're doing on Instagram. Truly, a web presence is key. So welcome, Sarah. I'm so glad you could join me on the show today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It is wonderful you can be here, and I'm glad you're not having tremendous cold and problems with the cold. I mean, this is interesting weather. Well, I know that you have said before that passion is your design, and I've certainly seen that in your design. Tell us a little bit more about how it is that you came to do web design and graphics, and honor your creative side.
So I've always been intrigued by design and drawing, and ever since I can remember, when my mom mistakenly bought me a Victorian desk that was white, and I wrote all over it. And yeah, I definitely have been drawing since I can remember, putting my name on everything, but I've always been passionate about visual impressions, So I went to school. I have my bachelor's in art studio, and my concentration is in graphic design and sculpture. And so I have a fine arts background as well. And because, I that's how I started. I started drawing. Well, later on, I got into administrative support. I had quite a few years in that, about 20 years in administrative support, and I realized that I just wasn't passionate about making other people successful. And so I just, I decided to start teaching myself how to market myself, how to build a website through WordPress. I started just exploring the different ways to be able to introduce myself to the online world, because I saw back in 2015, when I graduated college, that's where the world was headed. And if you didn't have a presence online, even if you were just still trying to work in corporate, if you still didn't have a presence online, they still looked at your footprint online just to even get a job. And so I knew that something had to change. And that's kind of when I had my taste of entrepreneurism. Was when I pretty much discovered that I don't know if I really want to work the 9-to-5 anymore. But as I started, discovering all of these things about myself, because that's really what it is, it's a journey. I also realized that I have a passion for educating other business owners. I believe in educating them on the fundamental tools needed to visually impress prospects that will eventually allow them to grow their business, build that trust factor, and stand out among their competitors. And while their competitors are already online, they're falling behind if they're not online. So that's, I'm a creative brand strategist. I enhance the branding of their services. I use the latest marketing trends. I develop a marketing plan to help them do that, to visually impress their prospects and grow.
Now, I know that when we have spoken, you really focus a lot on brand and brand identity, which I also think is key, and coming to design on that. How strongly do you feel that a business should pay attention to that, not just the online presence and what you're talking about, I think, for jobs, but because that's an individual thing, but for a business, how, if somebody's going to be posting something on Facebook, or they're going to be doing something on YouTube, or if they're going to be doing something on Yelp, what do you mean by the brand, and how do you keep that consistent?
Sure. So yes, absolutely. Your brand is more than just your logo. It is, as I said, your identity, but specifically, it's the why behind your business. It's the passion behind why you got it started in the first place. Why are you helping your clients? How can you help your clients? All of this needs to be conveyed in your branding. And that branding can include your voice on social media, or if you're actually physically, on a video, or, here on a podcast, how are you conveying what it is that you can do for your prospects, for your clients, for your customers, whether it's a service or it's a product? How is that coming across to them? You have an avatar, which an avatar is who your target audience is. You have to define that on the different services you provide, the different products you provide. And if you haven't specifically defined that, then you need to think about those things as well, because that's also a part of your footprint. That's part of who you're going to be helping. If you're talking to the wrong audience, then you're trying to help the wrong people, and you're wasting your time, and time is money in a business. So,
and then
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, when you're talking about consistency and having the brand, but it's not your logo, how do you do that?
When it's not your logo, are you meaning like if your logo isn't conveying what you're trying to portray? Is that what you're meaning, or your question?
Well, you had said it has to go beyond the logo. So the way you present yourself, how do you do it if you're not just saying, okay, well, here's my logo, here's the name of my company? Like you could say, here's Marshall's, but what is Marshall's? Nobody knows, right? So how does a company like that identify themselves?
Okay, so you have a tagline, like, for instance, have it your way was Burger King. So you have all these different taglines that can convey your messaging of who you are. What are your values as a brand? How do you want to help them? How do you want to show up for your clients? And so that has to be consistent throughout all of your messaging, throughout all of you can't just have a logo. You have to have visuals. You have, like, for instance, say you're only working in your office at your home. You're working from home, but you're, running a business. People want to know that. They want to know about you and how you got started. I mean, if you think about the different businesses that got started in their garage, that is an interesting story, and so your story also conveys your voice and who you are and why you are appealing to your target audience. So people buy why.
Mm-hmm. They do, and they buy the story and the individual. Like you said, the story of the people who started businesses in their garages, like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Michael Dell, or their dorm room, or even Mark Zuckerberg with
even
Facebook.
Nirvana.
Those are the things that we remember and that we always go back to, is the story.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you can build trust too, by truly conveying what it is that you're passionate about, serving your audience, providing value to them. And you need to provide that value consistently throughout all your platforms, and make sure that your voice is the same wherever you show up. And then also, you need to show up. They need to know that you're there for them. Yeah, right? Something as simple as that. But yeah, it's especially online, because people are constantly trying to find answers to their questions. That they want to go to your website. You brought up having a website. It's important to have a website, yes, but you also have to have a website that's intentional. So you have to make sure that website, when you're going on it, that when the people are going on it that are trying to find answers, that you're answering those questions. If you're not answering those questions right away, you literally have 6 seconds to, appeal to them. And if you're not doing that on the very first glance at a website, then they're going to leave your website, and you're not going to gain a possible follower or a possible whatever it is that you're trying to do, a possible sale, whatever it is. And
now, do you
ahead.
think that a website is still key and that every business should have one? Or can they just get by with a funnel? That's one of the keywords and the big marketing words now. And people are saying you can make money and you can do stuff without even having a website.
No, that's not true. Okay, so you talked about footprint. If you think about the algorithms of Google, the search for Google, if there are no footprints, if there are no breadcrumbs, as the website world calls it, if there are no breadcrumbs that lead people to your website or lead people from social media to your website, or the whole circular motion, because that's really what it is. It's a whole circular motion of providing that value and sending them, your landing page is going to send them to places, but you also want them to have a hub, that main hub that provides all those keywords. We call them search engine optimization. So the search engine optimization is provided for Google or whatever main optimization search engine there is. You've got Bing, you've got Yahoo. Google, of course, is the most popular one that people use. But if there's no keywords, if there's no breadcrumbs, if there's no hub, then there's no consistency. And the legitimacy goes out the window in the eyes of the search engine.
I can see that.
Why.
So with a web presence, do you think that should be, or is it okay for it just to be static? Like you can just put one page up and say, here's who we are and what we do.
No.
And it never changes?
No, you need to change it. You need to update it. You need to have value. So I highly recommend having some kind of blog or a podcast, some kind of content that provides value, that you update quarterly. And, also, like I said, providing that value. If you provide that value for them, then the search engines will see that it's an active website. It's not dormant, as a lot of these websites can become. And and also I think they have something also called backlinks, where you can piggyback off of successful websites as well. So you can help your website by piggybacking off of other websites that are successful. So even if you're not sharing your content, you can share other people's content so that it can provide value. That's the main. I keep saying it, I almost sound like a broken record, but the key to helping your clients is to providing that information, that value that they need, and building that trust. And
when you
that's where
have something and you're creating an online presence, right now we have kind of an ecosystem with Facebook and with Instagram, and having a web presence, and having LinkedIn, which I'm very keen on, and now TikTok, and golly, who knows what else is coming up. how do you make these things, or do you help your customers and your clients and your design work to keep all those linked and interactive?
So integration, you make sure that, first of all, when I'm creating the branding and, to answer your questions about keeping it consistent, is once I create the branding for them, I make sure it's included in their package that I also go on their different platforms and I update it. So I make sure that it stays consistent. I also provide a branding maintenance package that allows you to, have me on retainer for whenever you do have updates that you can't do yourself. Or I can, as I said earlier, I believe in educating business owners. So if they want me to teach them how to do it, I can also do that. But first and foremost, you need to make sure that it's all consistent, that it's all conveying what it is that you're wanting to convey throughout everything. Because your online, as I said, it's a circular motion. So any footprint that you create online will be found in the search engine.
So you have to leave the breadcrumbs. I love that analogy that you had said too. Now, a lot of people have a website, but it's not suitable for being on their phone or for viewing it on their phone. Is that another element that you incorporate?
Yes, absolutely. So I was actually going to bring that up. 88% of users, like consumers, are on their phone, which means that your website it's vital that your website is mobile friendly. And what that means is that when you change the size of it's responsive. That's what it's called. It's responsive. So when you're changing the size of your website, whether it's looking on a tablet, looking on your two different sizes of desktops, you've got desktops that have 27-inch screens. You have desktops, or you have laptops that are just 15-inch screens. Those are still responsive type things. So you have to make sure that when it changes those different sizes, that it still looks good and it's still functional, because you will lose people right away if they cannot navigate through your website.
That makes perfect sense. You and I have talked a lot about having the call to action, as they call it, right away when somebody sees your website, so that they have an idea of what you might provide by getting a sample of something. And I'm a firm believer in seeing, who the individual is who might be with the business, or even the client, what it is that you're doing for them, as far as just a plain visual. And you've kind of helped me understand that too. Now, the other thing is, if you create a website, or if somebody hires you for the design package and the identity and strategy, how frequently, I wouldn't say how frequently do you have to change it, but how much work does an individual have to put into it? And do they own all the content that's on there?
So I recommend, I usually do what I call a design questionnaire. So that's part of the onboarding. I'll have pretty much all the questions that I talked about today regarding your target audience, regarding your voice, your values, how you want to be, seen in front of your audience. And I ask all of those questions. I help them come up with a strategy if they don't already have one. I help them come up with SMART goals. So SMART goals are, marketable, attainable goals, that you can actually achieve if they don't already have those goals. So I think what makes me different than most designers is I also have a marketing background. So I think about those details when I'm creating their brand packaging. And so that's we dig deep. As miners go, we dig deep for that diamond. And so we find that diamond through questions, through a conversation. It's all about getting to know the business owner and what it is that they're wanting to convey to their audience. And what was the other question that you asked?
Do you get to keep and own all the material? Because I know if you do
Yes,
WordPress.com, I believe it is, that's not necessarily yours.
Yes, you get the copyright. We sign a contract that states that. The only time that you wouldn't keep it is if if you're okay with me creating like a landing page that's a template, and I'll own the rights to that. But of course, it's going to be a lot cheaper too. So, but if you are buying the copyright to your, because it's a unique design, everyone that I provide branding for, a brand identity for, is custom to that business. So why should I own that? It should be yours.
Yeah, but if it's custom to that business too, then you want to make it distinctive for that business.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the last question that I have for you is, with a blog or a podcast in there, somebody having to maintain it. Actually, that's not what I wanted to ask. I wanted to go back because in business, and I love passive income, affiliate links. You see that a lot. You see a lot of things in disclosures. Even if you're looking up a recipe, it says, disclosure, I may get paid for something if you click on a link for a pot or a pan. And I love affiliate links. So you can put those into a website also, can't you?
Yes, absolutely. It's really easy. And as a matter of fact, I was working on my website earlier, adding some affiliate links. And I think the best thing about affiliate links is it doesn't cost the consumers who are looking at your website to use those affiliate links. If anything, it's just helping out a small business. A lot of the time, people are trying to find extra streams of income, and the best way to do that is if you're already using something and you truly believe in that product or software or whatever it may be, then you want to share it with other people. And the best benefit of having an affiliate link is you get paid to share it. And if anything, that's also a testimonial to your consumer or client or whoever it is that you're sharing it with, that the product you're using you truly believe in, and you wouldn't share it with them if you didn't. At least I wouldn't. That's my philosophy. I don't know how other people do it, but for me, I do not share an affiliate link, but I don't believe in the product.
It's just like I don't share an individual if I don't believe in their product and what it is they have to offer, and the referral thing. And then also you can create a website for e-commerce, right? So if somebody has a T-shirt store, for example, you could have the website set up so people could purchase online.
Correct. I either through WordPress, or I also work with people who have a Shopify store. I can start from scratch with their Shopify store and create a store for them. And have as many integrations as they want into it. As people who sell things online, you have to make sure that the shipping is in there, that the tax is in there. So I make sure that all those things are set up. And there's several integrations that can include Stripe. You can use PayPal. I think Square is another one as well. So there's a lot of different things that are included in those e-commerce things. But I've pretty much worked with every platform. I've worked with Wix, Weebly, Squarespace. WordPress is my expertise because that's what I started on. And if anything, if you want a more robust platform, then I highly recommend WordPress over Weebly or Wix, because there's limitations to those things.
You really can do it all, and I am looking forward to more products and more integrations, and I know that you have a ton to offer. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Sarah, they can look her up at Sarah Miner Design. Is it design or designs? Plural.
It's SarahLMinerDesign.com.
Okay, great. Or you can always call me, Julie, at Julie Talks Money at 626-460-1188, and I'll put you in direct contact then with Sarah. Again, that's 626-460-1188, 626-460-1188, and I answer my own phone. But I really appreciate your time, Sarah, today and all the information that you had. We're going to have to go to a little commercial, but I look forward to talking to you again soon and having you back on the show to talk a little bit more in depth for people who are interested and wanting and needing a website.
Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed speaking with you as well.
It'd be great. Have a wonderful day. And stay tuned. We're going to be right back after just a couple of words from sponsors. You're listening to Julie Talks Money on 1490 AM KMET.
We all know that money doesn't grow on trees, but you can grow your wealth every Friday at 10 a.m. with Julie Phelan's Julie Talks Money. Julie and her guests have a world of knowledge to help you gain more wealth. Your financial future can be bigger than your past. If you need to build fast cash, long-term wealth, protect what you have, or create a legacy for your family, tune in every Friday at 10 a.m. for Julie Talks Money on KMET 1490 to learn strategies that affect your family and pocketbook. Podcasts are on SoundCloud.
We're suddenly in the midst of some very tough times. People hurting for cash don't have many options. My man Saul, the great American, may have a very tangible answer for you if you need cash now. If you are a parent or 70 or older, Saul can get you cash for that too expensive, unwanted life insurance policy, and he can do it fast. Not only will he be able to cash out now, but you or your parent won't have to fork over those crippling high premium payments anymore. You've heard the television spots about knowing you could sell your life insurance policy. Well, why just sell it to one source when you could have multiple chances to cash out and get the most money? Saul will do the whole process remotely, so you don't have to leave the safety of your home or meet with the great American. Contact Saul at Appel Life Settlements, 617-610-1898, or visit his website, appellifesettlements.com. The great American has over 45 years' experience. The consultation is free, no obligations. Call 617-610-1898 now.
And welcome back to Julie Talks Money. And thank you for listening again today. I'm Julie Phelan, your host, and I am a financial life coach, as I've mentioned before. Now, we were just talking to Sarah Miner, SarahLMinerDesign.com, and she is a website designer, but beyond that, she is somebody who helps with your branding of your business, which is very important and very key in this day and age. Now, I'm doing that and trying to, and you can find me on YouTube with the channel, Julie Talks Money, on SoundCloud, Julie Talks Money, on Spreaker. You can find a lot of my previous episodes, Julie Talks Money, and also Facebook, LinkedIn, and I hope you would connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. And then there are several other platforms, and Instagram, and I'm still learning how to use that. One of the things that designers say, and especially Sarah, who we just talked to, is that she transforms your vision into creative results. I will transform and help you transform your vision into financial results. So it's a little bit creative on the same level. It's just not art. It's more on the financial level. The whole thing these days is everybody's got a vision. I'm sure you do too. I have a vision and I have some goals. I have a vision board, and I actually work with that vision board where I have photos from magazines, and I have other things that are online for a vision board of things that I want to bring into reality, visions of how I want my life to be, visions of the real estate that I want to own, the car that I want to have, the travel that I want to take. So you have a vision too, I'm sure. Maybe it could be a vision of your kids going through college and you don't know exactly how you're going to pay for it, but your vision is that somehow you are going to find the means to do that. So let's, put yourself into the status of somebody who wants to actually achieve that vision and to figure out how you're going to do that. Most of us say that we have a vision, but it's not really a vision. It's a dream. I want to take an around the world trip. That's great. That could be a vision, but for most of it's a dream. I want to drive a Bentley or a Maserati. Well, you might be able to drive one for 10 minutes for $70 in Hollywood or in San Diego or somewhere, but if you don't really believe that that's something that you can have, it's just a make-believe thing. It's play. It's playing. And there's nothing wrong with playing, because it's really good to play also when you actually have a vision that you want to make happen, because you can play with it in your mind. You can play with visualizing it. I'm a huge believer in the power of visualization. And in the coaching program, we would use that also. We visualize what it is that you want, visualize what it is that you want as the end result. And again, I've said this before, and I'm going to challenge you once again. Think and work backwards. Think about yourself at 40 years old. Think about yourself at 50 years old or 60 years old, whatever's comfortable for you. What do you want to have accomplished by then? You can work backwards that way, as opposed to saying, that my New Year's resolution is XYZ, or my vision or my goal is to do XYZ. Look back and see what it is that you want to have accomplished, you want to have in the bank. What do you want to have in savings? What do you want as far as your children, your family are concerned? What do you want to have happened already? That is an excellent starting point. It's starting with the end in mind in an even more in-depth way. Start with the end in mind, meaning start with the ending that you want to see. Definitely look at that and then create your visions from there. If you don't know how you're going to get there, and most people don't know what it is that they don't know, you need help. People go for a financial advisor for advice on that, stockbroker or stock something to buy stocks or learn about stocks. And yeah, you can look at that. You can look at tons of YouTube videos and maybe learn, but nothing takes the place of an individual who helps you through something. Don't you agree? I mean, I know that I can put myself out there and watch webinar after webinar, Zoom after Zoom, especially now during the pandemic. But it's still going to be up to me to try and figure out, oh my gosh, how does this work? And what is this application? Like trying to do a website. I can't do it on my own, because then it gets deeper and deeper and you have to learn. However, if I had somebody sitting right next to me saying, here's how you do it on the keyboard, or here's how you do it on this platform, that's a whole different thing. And for me, infinitely more valuable and worth paying for. Now, again, as I said before, if you have a business and a business is your dream, whether you have one now or you want to open it, there are resources available for you that you should really be looking into. I'm going to be talking with somebody from the Small Business Administration again this month, and they'll be talking about different programs that are available. But also, I wanted to tell you, I'm excited to be bringing back the women of Black Women's Wall Street. We're the founders of this fantastic organization that's based in Texas called Black Women's Wall Street. And soon they will be co-hosting my show, and they will also be launching their own. So stay tuned for information on that. But this is Black History Month. And for those who don't know, there used to be a Black Wall Street. That was in Oklahoma. It was in the early 1900s, and there were a number of wealthy merchants and farmers and store owners and bankers. They had their own community and money with it. Unfortunately, it was burned to the ground, and it is it's not a national holiday, but it's something that is definitely marked each year. But the progress that the African American community has made, and the progress in particular that Black women has made, is a matter of great interest. And there's been a lot of different articles, and you may have seen some of that too, in this Black History Month of February. So stay tuned or come back next Friday as we talk about Black Women's Wall Street, and they are a group that help African American and Black women to find, again, their vision and put together a business. Matter of fact, they have a flagship program they'll be talking about that is called From Idea to Inception. And isn't that what we've been talking about? We're all creative and we all have ideas. You know, here's something else that I would suggest you do. Keep pieces of paper. When you have an idea, jot it down and then put it into a file folder, if you have that, called your idea file. You know, you can actually put different things that come to you in the middle of the night, little notes, jot them down, put them into your idea file. You never know when they'll come in handy, and there's a reason that they've popped into your head. It could be for your business, it could be for a dream. Just keep going with that, because we all are visionaries. We're all visionaries. We all have our own creativity. We all have a vision for ourselves, for our business, and the life that we want to have. Let me help you get there. Let me help you get that life that you have, because you're not having it yet. You're not having it now. I am darn sure that at least 90% of you are not where you want to be and are not enjoying the financial freedom that you want to, and they don't have the financial literacy that you want to. So why not call 626-460-1188, 626-460-108, 626-460-1188, and talk to me, and we'll get you on the right track, and I'll be your conditioning coach. That's it for this week. I'm Julie Phelan. Thank you again for listening to Julie Talks Money. Again, check it out on YouTube and on Instagram, LinkedIn, several other platforms. You can watch the show again on KMET.com TV, KMET TV, I think it is. At any rate, come back every Friday at 10 a.m. to 1490 KMET or on TuneIn Radio for more tips, tricks, tidbits, and money advice. Have a wonderful and prosperous week.